Hi guys, welcome back, or hello if you're new to my channel. I feel like I'm a little nervous filming this. I haven't filmed a sit down video in who knows how long. If this lighting sucks, let me know, but if it doesn't. Anyways, so I was thinking about what my YouTube video should be this week, and I was like, I got nothing. I was like, I don't really want to film a vlog, and I was like, okay, we're in August now. What does August mean? Back to school season. Am I going back to school? No. Crazy to say, the first time in 18 years I'm not going back to school in August. That's just like, I feel like a little out of place if I'm being honest. Does this mean I'm an adult? No. I am an adult. I am a young adult. But I am not independent as much as I thought I would be at 22. But I was thinking, okay, back to school, what could I do? And I was like, there is one thing I can think of. I just graduated college in May. My best idea would be to do a college tips idea, not just catered to freshmen or sophomore or juniors or seniors, but to everybody, to everyone in their 4 years of college. Anyone can watch this at any point, but just to help somebody out. As a freshman, if you watch this would be perfect because it would be for all 4 years. But yeah, I made a list called college tips for all 4 years. For any college students, and I just think it's things that I've learned throughout the 4 years that I was in college. I don't know why my voice sounds like that. Give me a second. So I'm just going to talk about each tip and basically why I think you should or shouldn't follow this advice, or why you should follow this advice. I don't think I tell you not to do anything. So anyways, further ado, my top 10 college tips for anyone in college or going to college. So number 1, and I've said this since I started filming freshman year, join organizations and be part of them. Personally, that's how I made my friends in college. Oh yeah, let's take it back for a second. What is my expertise here? I went to Clemson University for 4 years. I studied business management and in-state student, but I only had one friend that I knew when I went to Clemson. So I feel like I'm giving good advice because I didn't know that many people. I knew one, but I didn't know many, and I did have to put myself out there. And the way I did that was joining organizations. My freshman year, I decided to stop being such an introvert, so when I would go to these meetings, I would always try to talk to one person, and it actually did help. I wouldn't just go and sit at a table where nobody else was. I would go sit at a table where 1 or 2 people were, and I'm like, hi guys, my name's Samantha, what's your name? And I think that just helped me like know that people that they could talk to me, and it just made it easier to make friends if I just asked people first, honestly. So join organizations, and along with that, have a hobby. Usually a lot of organizations are based on hobbies. There's like Run Club, there's like Chocolate Milk Club, that was the thing at Clemson. They had Chick-fil-A Club, they had like Movie Club, stuff like that. I joined a Hispanic Club, so just like partnering with people who like look like me, experience life like me, had a culture like me. But also like just having a hobby, something to do, will also put you out there, because let's say your hobby is running. There's definitely other people in Clemson, I mean in college, that want to run. So you'll be more likely to find friends that have similar hobbies, and if not, that's okay. But yeah, I think just joining organizations is my number 1 tip. I always tell people that. Number 2, make at least one friend in each class. Now I don't really mean like friend, honestly. Acquaintance. Freshman year maybe that can be like friend, because that's how I made most of my friends my freshman year. But following years, just one acquaintance in a class, because I feel like you always need at least one person in class to talk to. Like if you get confused, obviously with online this is way harder. That's actually really hard. But in-person classes, you always need at least one person that you can talk to. Or just like if you have to miss a class for whatever reason it is, text and be like, hey, what did I miss? Do I need to email the professor? Because although the professors are great, sometimes it's great to have from like a student perspective. So definitely trying to have at least one person you can talk to in each class, or like just someone you can count on. I always just ask somebody usually for their number, and I'm like, can I text you if anything? Or like if people, I personally, I don't like to get my number, so sometimes I'd be like, you want my Snap, you want my Instagram? I feel like once you're a senior you get over that and you're just like, give me your number. But not in a like give me your number, but in like I need your number for class. And then like any homework, any projects, anything. A lot of like, I feel like when you go to senior year, maybe this is just a Clemson thing, you start to get so many group projects, and so just having one person makes it easier. Tip number 3, go to office hours. Not always, but if it's there, you should use them. There's a reason professors have office hours. I used to be an office hour like fiend when I was like a sophomore. I would go to like so many office hours because I'd be confused, and who better to ask than the professor if they weren't nice. Sometimes I didn't have the best luck, but office hours, just to ask questions you're confused of. Most of the time professors really like when students go to office hours because they're using their main resource and they just get to know you better, especially if it's like a big class. And it just shows that you're willing. Also, a lot of professors also have office hours for like study stuff, so like getting extra practice, and that's great as well. But just office hours, I feel like personally there would have been a good number of assignments or tests or just problems I would have gotten wrong if I didn't go to office hours. Tip number 4, prepare ahead of time. I feel like once freshman year passed on, I had so much time to myself that when I started to make more friends and I was more involved in my organizations, I just didn't know how to time manage as well. And that's where I think preparing ahead of time would have helped so much. And I did obviously learn this. I'm like a type A person, so I had this down after. But like there was like 2 or 3 months my sophomore year where I was like, there was just so much going on and I wanted to be like a yes man to everything, wanted to do everything. And like I had more friends to talk to. I started talking to my boyfriend, and I just didn't schedule out things. I would go home like every 3 or 4 weeks. And if you know, like going home when you're in college, there's just so much things going on in college, especially assignments wise. Like going home just throws you off, and it throws off your time, however long it takes you to travel. As long, for me it was a good amount of time. I feel like if it's an hour, then that's a little different. But just prepare ahead of time. If you know in 3 weeks you're gonna have a test, but the week 2 weeks before you're gonna go home, and then the week before that you're gonna like go to a concert or something, prepare ahead of time. Start studying earlier. I just dedicated more time to things that I thought mattered more for me, and it helped me also in my classes, which was obviously the #1 priority. I'm not going to college just to be around, you know. And my tip number 5, leave your dorm or apartment. I feel like I didn't really do this much my first semester, I would say, just because I was scared. I am not an extrovert. I'm like an ambivert. I'm an introvert until you know me, and then I'm an extrovert. Leave your dorm or apartment, especially your freshman year. They do so many activities for the freshmen. Like if you want to find friends, if you just want to do something but just besides sitting around, leave your dorm. And then an apartment, when I started living off campus, it was harder like to motivate myself to go to activities on campus, even go to class, I'm being honest. But leave. There's a reason you're in college. You're not paying money, or the government isn't paying money for you to just be sitting at home. Like you can do that anywhere else. Now obviously if you're an introvert, spend your time alone. We're gonna get into that later, but just certain times, just remember that being caged up isn't always the best thing, especially in these 4 years. They go by so fast. Everybody says the same thing. Oh my god, you're in college, I'm gonna buy the. It's true. It's true. Number 6, this is for burnt out. Personally, I think my junior year is when I started to be like, yeah, I'm like over this already. I can't, like, my classes were getting harder and I just didn't have as much motivation. Like some of them I was just it's so hard to study for a class you genuinely don't care what you're learning about, especially like those gen eds. But for burnt out, my #1 tip, when you have to lock in, obviously take time for yourself, self-care, you know, it's not the end of the world if you get a C on a test, you know. But Pomodoro technique, I think that's what it's called. It's like a technique where you study for 25 minutes and then you have a 5-minute break, and then 25 minutes, 5-minute break, and then like 25 minutes like a 10-minute break. I don't know what it is, but that's the one I always did, 25-5, and I would just do it for the amount of hours I was studying for. And there's one that's like 45-15, there's one that's 50-10. Find the one that works for you, but that for me helped me so much when I would study or do any type of work or had anything to do. Just locking in for those 25 minutes, just like, it just changes your brain, because you don't want to, obviously, but once you're doing it for just so much, the amount of time. I remember seeing a YouTube video about this, and this is how I learned about it, because I hated writing. So anytime I had to write a paper in college, I would do this. And after the first 25 minutes, you're like, okay, I can do this. Like I can lock in for 25 minutes, and then you have your 5-minute break, and then you can keep going. Number 7, and one semester I had to learn this the hard way, do not put all your effort into one class. Obviously, if you're doing good in your other classes and you're failing one, you need to lock in for that one class. One time I had like one class when I was a finance major. One class I was finance, everything else was business or gen ed, and I just focused so much time into that finance class that it made me not be aware of so much of my other classes, and then my other classes weren't doing as well. I passed, okay? I never got a C in college, I'll tell you that. And one class is not the end of the world unless you're failing it again. If you're failing in class, pay attention, please. Number 8, this is going along with leave your dorm or apartment, but that was more for activities. Go to class. Guys, I completely understand if you've already been in college. Sometimes your professor just reads like lectures, slideshows off, and just like you just note take, so there's no point in going in a class. I understand for those classes. I completely understand, you know? You don't want to go. One, attendance was very important in Clemson. So for attendance, go to class. But if it's not, then you know, you do you in that situation. But in other situations, especially like math classes or more analytical classes where you're doing programming or anything like that, go to class. Because I feel like for me, definitely depends what type of student you are, but for me, seeing things, someone do something was so much more beneficial than like watching a video online for me personally. And also sometimes in class, professors like are nicer to students that actually go to class, and they like give them more resources. That was like the case for like 4 of my classes, I would say in total. Like he would tell us more things about what would be on our exams, and like give us extra practice that he wouldn't post online and stuff like that. So going to class is very important. Duh, obviously for attendance purposes, but also for learning purposes. And sometimes even if you're just taking notes, you're gonna have to take those notes at one point, or you're gonna have to review the material at one point. Why not do it at class when you're literally paying for the class, you know? Number 9 is kind of flipping the switch on something I said before about making friends, saying yes, all that. Learn how to do things alone. You're gonna be entering the real world alone most of the time. Maybe some of you going to the real world with your friends. That sounds amazing. But learning to do things on your own is just gonna be so much more beneficial. You're not gonna, especially for me, I had so much social anxiety when I started college, and just learning like to slowly let go of that, like going to go eat alone, going to the library alone, going to classes alone. My friends weren't in all my classes. We didn't have the same major and stuff to study. Just doing things alone, I don't know, it just like, it like adds to the way you experience college, because you're not scared to do things alone. You can do them alone, and then you're not like, oh, I can't go study at the library because so-and-so is not going to the library and I can't be at the library alone. No, you can definitely be at the library alone. College is a time to gain independence, especially if you're leaving from like your house and going somewhere further away. And it's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna say you're gonna gain independence in a month. It takes time for me. Definitely, like I think after my first semester I was definitely more independent, and overall more and more, and I enjoyed spending time by myself more than ever. And number 10, which how to do the best tip for number 10, focus on the present but invest in your future. You're probably like, what does that mean? Focus on your present but invest in your future? You're in college for only 4 years of your life. That's such a small amount of time when you really think about it, compared to like high school, middle school, and elementary school. Usually you grow up with the same kids, but like college is only these 4 years compared to all those past years. It's weird because you have so much freedom. Like obviously you have to study and go to class, but like your schedule's all different. You have to dictate when you study. You have to dictate like when you're gonna do these classes, how long you want to graduate in, and things like that. So obviously you want to focus on the present and getting the most out of it, doing the most in academic wise, also like having fun socially, and then investing in yourself like I said, and then just enjoying all the freedom that you have. Like if you want to go play soccer at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, you can. Enjoy your present. I think a lot of the times when I was younger, or in the beginning starts of like my classes, I was like, okay, I can't wait till the semester's already over, because I was so over my classes. But besides the classes, it's like work hard, play hard. Do good in your classes so you have time, like especially during finals. I didn't want to be like pulling an all-nighter in the library because I was slacking off in the semester. So I was like focusing on doing well throughout the semester so I can enjoy time out of school as well. But then also invest in your future. College is, you don't go to college just go to college, you know? I think most people go to college to get a degree to use in the real world, and besides the academic wise, also like participating in organizations, being a good member, joining executive boards can really help you in the future when you're interviewing for a job and they're like, so what did you do? And you can't just be like, I just studied all day. I mean, certainly some people do that, but I feel like it shows like you're a well-rounded person And by doing those things, you are in the present, but you're also investing in your future. Another thing, internships. If you can get an internship after your sophomore year, that's a big advice I have. I didn't get one until after my junior year. Investing in your future. Having a summer internship that's showing you what maybe you want to do when you graduate is going to be very beneficial, especially if you have a very broad major and you don't know exactly. I think that's something that helped a lot. So always remember to live in the present, but always in the back of your head remember that you're in college for a reason and make the most out of it. Even in the summer when you don't have your classes, talking about those internships, those experiences in organizations, and just know what you're working towards at the end of the day. Those are my 10 tips. I hope you enjoyed. If you're about to start school, if you already started school, good luck. If you found any of these tips helpful, just let me know. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions about college. You're more than welcome to comment, and I'm more than willing to answer. But thank you guys, enjoy, and I'll see you next time.